All right, so an earlier um, video I stated that I was going to delve a little bit deeper into the subject of these BR and R type floodlights. And so I wanted to go ahead and do that now. This is going to be a little bit longer, as you can tell, but we're really going to delve a little bit more deeply in this thing and hopefully explain a little bit better to you what the difference is between the B and the R and what's better going to suit you in your situation, hopefully. And so you have a better understanding of if this is even the light that you want. You may want to go with a different light altogether, a different code. There's others out there. You've got the PAR, the PAR, or the MR. You also have, I'm trying to think of the other one. There's one more there, but right now it's not coming to me. That was just kind of off the cuff on that one, so I apologize about that. But anyway, so once again, real quick, this is about the BR or the R type. That's the code that we're talking about here. And there's a couple questions I want to answer here. And the kind of the questions I wanted to answer is, and this is a little bit longer video, so I do have quite a few notes here. So I will be looking at those. One is, what do they go in? What type of fixture do these go in, and where you're going to be seeing those? What does the code stand for? What exactly does that code stand for, the B or the R, and what does the 20 stand for? Also, what is the difference between the two, the R and the B, the BR, and where you're going to see these used, and where they're going to be best used for in your home. So let's start off with number one. What are these typically going to go into these particular bulbs? There's three types: the can lights, the track lights, and your flood lighting type. Lighting is the three types of lighting that you're going to use this for. Really, there isn't really much else. If just go to the store, you'll be able to find can lights, and they recess inside of your ceiling. Most of the time they recess in there, so they're just a little pocket hole, okay, in your ceiling, and that's what's considered a recessed can, is what they call those. That's called can lighting. The other one is your track lighting. This is where you see a thin piece up on, let's say, on your ceiling, or sometimes it's on the wall. There's a thin piece that's on there, and then you can adjust the canister that the bulb goes into onto that little track. There's your voltage that goes actually across inside there. We won't get into all that, but then you can adjust that across that bar that's across your ceiling or your wall. So that would be considered a track lighting. And then, of course, your flood lighting, that is going to be more fixed, and kind of like your track lighting canisters that are attached to that track there, but they're going to be more permanently attached, and you just have to direct them in a certain direction. So those are your three types of typically your three types of places that you're going to use those, and type of fixtures that you're going to use those in. Secondly, the second question is, what does that particular code stand for? I think I explained this a little bit earlier, but a little simpler is that the 20, they make a 20, a 30, 38, a 40, and all this is the size. Now, the size is the diameter. They're measuring the diameter of this bulb, and that's from, they're measuring the diameter from here to here, okay? And you're going, how do they get 20 from here to here? What is that, in inches? Well, it is, but it's broken up into eighths. So your diameter in this particular bulb, the R20, is a 28ths of an inch in diameter. So you take your 20, divide it by 8, and then you'll have in inches how the diameter of this bulb. So in this case, a 20 is going to be 2.5 inches wide. I think a 30 is 3.75 inches wide, and then your 38s are 4.75, 3 3/4 for those of you that know it in that, inches wide, or 2.5 is your 20s, and your 30s, what did I say? 3.75, so 3 3/4. And so anyway, and then your 40s, I believe, are 5 inches. I think that's divided by there. Anyway, so you have those widths, and that is the width of, or the diameter, I should say, of the bulb. So when you're replacing these, you've got to make sure that you're replacing it with the right width bulb to go in there. So they make them where you can barely fit them in there, so there's very little room beside there. So anyway, so that's how you read that, is the by the size. Okay, so then the R in the code here stands for reflector. Now the reflector is this piece down here. See this white in this particular bulb. I know I don't have an actual bulb with me today. I installed this the other day, and I just so happen to have the box. So I'm very thankful that I even have this. So anyway, so this piece here is the reflector right here, and it's reflecting that light. So with like an incandescent that doesn't have this reflector, the light would be coming out the side here. But this is a paint, or a they have a reflection in there. They make it as different types in there, but what it does is it reflects the light more directional out this direction, right? So that's what the R stands for, is reflector. And that's what these are. If you notice right here, this is real flat, and that's important. I'll get to that here in just a second. So that's all that's indicating, is this is a reflector type bulb. So if you're looking at a PAR type bulb, the R at the end, there you go, reflector. That's what that means. So it's going to be a reflector type bulb. So okay, so that's the R. The BR type. What the B stands for is bulge reflector. BR, bulge reflector. Now these, once again, the 20 is the size, but the bulge, what do they mean by bulge? Now once again, the BRs were made to replace these, and we'll get into that in just a second, the reason why. But the reason why they added the B is because they've got now a little bulge right here at the bottom here. There'll be like this little tiny bulge right here. And why that is because when they were being made, what happened is that there was a little bit of light, because the paint that was up in here and the reflecting part, the painted reflector that was in here, ended just before the end here of the base. So what would happen is your light would shine through here, and it wouldn't reflect it out the right direction. And so what would happen is you were losing some of your light back here. And so what they did is they created that bulge, and they put some reflector in there to create that extra losing light. Now it doesn't get lost anymore. It actually reflects through again. And so these new BRs are going to be more directional. They're going to be directing more light, which means that you're going to not have to consume. They don't have to make them as the energy efficient. They become more of an energy efficient in the long run, because you won't have to use as much energy to get just as much light as much as these R's would. These R's would take more energy to create the same lighting effect as a BR would. Okay, so they become a little bit more energy efficient, and that really becomes a big difference between the R's and the BR's, is that energy efficiency. When you go to replace these in your bulb, and I'll probably mention this before, if you go to replace these R's with a BR, you can. That bulge usually doesn't affect anything. Normally you can replace them. They're pretty interchangeable for the most part. Occasionally you might run into it. Every situation is different. I don't know. I apologize, I don't know. It's just hard to tell if your particular can light will be able to handle these bulge type. So it just really, on that particular part of it, is going to be trial and error. That's just the way it is. I would have to do the same thing. I wouldn't be able to just look at yours and tell if a bulge would be able to fit in there or not. So, and then once again, I did the numbers there. So there's your difference there. So that kind of wraps up the code on that and the difference between the BR and the R there a little bit. So, okay, so again, question number three, what is the difference between the two? Well, one, like I said, is that bulge down below. That's the only physical difference you're going to see on the outside. Now, once again, on the inside, it creates to go farther to reflect that light, which helps in your energy and less light loss out the sides. Okay, so that's really the shape really helps with that. And then once again, your energy bill is going to help with this. They're a little bit better energy efficient, so that's going to help cut down on your cost and your energy bill also. Not by much, but a little bit. And then, and one thing I needed to add in here was that these particular bulbs, these BR and R types, are considered a wide beam type of bulb, floodlight. So you want to make sure what this wide beam means, that it means that it is a 45 degree. They come out at a 45 degree or larger, up to normally what I'm reading is approximately 120 degrees or so, but it's a 45 degrees and larger, which is considered a wide beam type of bulb. So just make sure that if you need something that is narrower than 45, you're going to have to go with a different type of bulb, either the PAR, the PARs, or the MRs. So, and some other video I'll have to get into the PARs and the MRs and so on and so forth and all the different types there. So I won't get into that right now. But just to let you know that this is considered a wide beam type floodlight. All right, moving on to the last point here. Where would these best be used in your home? And I think this is really where the rubber meets the road here, and what are you going to use it for? So you have to kind of ask your own self, what are you going to use this for? Are you going to use it for one specific artwork on your wall, or are you going to use it for multiple artwork on your wall, or a larger kitchen, or something like that? Are you going to use it in the kitchen? Are you going to use it in your family room? Things like this. Where are you going to use it as? I don't know. Are you going to use it in your living room or your bedroom or something like that? I mean, you really have to think about where you're going to be using it. So normally, where these are going to be used is considered. One of them is called wall washing. Now, this is because the reason why you can use it as wall washing is to cover a larger area on your wall, which normally has to do with your artwork and stuff like that. If you've got a lot of artwork across your wall and you're wanting to illuminate it a little bit, then you'll get like a track light. And then with these particular wide beam type lights, the BR would work very well for that, because it's more than 45 degrees and you can get that wide look on your wall and be able to light up that wall instead of one specific spot on the wall, you'll be able to get a wider look on there, and it'll look a lot better than, let's say, a spotlight, which is like less than 15 degrees. Okay, so you want to be you want to make sure which one you want here on that. So that's one, and then of course your track lighting is the other one, and like I say, that is that's that track there. Okay, on your wall or on your ceiling that you're going to have these bases snap into, and you'll be able to move those and direct that particular lighting around. The other one is large areas. Sorry, the track lighting is more for the larger areas. And then the third one is for general ambient lighting in recessed cans. Now, once again, these recessed cans are recessed into your ceiling, so they're flatter against the ceiling, and because they're in your ceiling there, and they'll come down. And these are great for kitchens, where you'll end up using those normally, or even in the family room, a large family room. Those are good for there. So those are kind of some areas. Some additional areas that you might want to look for, just to give you an idea of where they're normally used, is large stairways that have a really high ceiling. Those are great for those, like a recessed can in there. You put a recessed can up at the top, and then use these BRs in there, and it's nice. You got that 45. It really fills that whole hallway and brightens it up when you got it real high up there, so you can see where you're walking. You'll be able to see your pictures on the wall of some high ceiling, or even well, I say your stairway, and it has a high ceiling, and that creates that. A lot of times you'll have your family pictures up there, and you'll want to be able to see them really well, and those are work really well in those types of areas. The other one, like I said before, is your kitchen, because your kitchen needs to be kind of bright, so you can see what you're looking at there. And then, of course, your family room. Now, you think, family room, why would I want that extremely bright? That's where I usually have my TV and stuff like that. Well, you can get these in an LED type. Even this one here is LED type. If you look, even if you hear, where is, oh, there it is, LED. I knew it was on there. LED type. And see, this right here is dimmable. So you need to make sure that if you want it to be dimmable, make sure that has that dimmable signage there on your package. And in the family room, works great, because if you need something, you've got company over and you just want it real bright so everyone can conversate, everyone sees each other really well, those dimmable work really well. You can dim it up, those can lights in your family room, and it creates this great look, real bright, and energy. And then you can dim it down. When you want to watch a movie, then you can dim it all down and make it a little bit more of a darker area, and where you can still see, but yet have the TV going, still be able to walk around and not trip over everybody sitting in your family room and stuff like that. So those are great for that. Highly recommend those. And there's some things that you have to realize about recessed lighting, but that's in another video in another time. But definitely highly consider that in the family room. So that kind of concludes here on these BR and R type lighting, and hopefully this has been very informational for you. And I know this is a long video, but if you have any questions or comments about this, if I've missed something, please leave me a comment below or a question below, and I'd love to answer you. Also visit me at coloradoredelectrical.com, and I will definitely get back with you. I serve the Grand Valley here in Colorado on the western slope, and so if you're in the area, I'd love to be your electrician, and hopefully I can help you out. And even I do consulting on electrical, help you with the safety of your home, because home is where it's at. And That's the reason why I'm doing this. So hopefully this is works for you. And love to be out there for you and working for you and doing what I can to help you out in your home and provide that safe haven for you when you get home from work. And I understand that with any of you guys that work out there away from home specifically. So that really concludes everything. Like I say, leave a comment, and until next time, hopefully I can answer your questions.